The second free practice session here in Monaco is about to get underway. It's round 6 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, the Monaco E-Prix. A very good morning. Thank you for joining us in what is a chilly, overcast day in Monaco, especially compared to the last few days that we've had here in the Principality, but the action on track is going to be fascinating, and this is where we're at with the season so far. 2 races in Diriyah, won by Nick Debrief and Eduardo Mortara. Pascal Wehrlein won Porsche's first race in Mexico City, and then Mitch Evans dominated in Rome, winning both races for Jaguar TCS Racing. A single header here in Monaco, and then we're off to Berlin in a couple of weeks' time for a double header, and then the season set to finish in Seoul in the middle of August. My name is Jack Nichols. Alongside me in the commentary box is the former Formula 1 driver and Formula E driver, Karun Chandok. Karun, good morning. Monaco, always great.
Yes, always happy to be here. It's a fantastic venue and a fantastic setting for a race, but more importantly, it's a great track, Jack.
Yeah.
You know, I loved racing here, you know, in any category really. So yeah, very excited to be back.
Jean-Eric Vergne is very excited to be at the top of the championship. He's 2 points ahead of Robin Freitz in the Envision Virgin car. Stoffel Van Dorn is third, 4 points back from Jean-Eric Vergne. Evans and Mortara still in that lead group, and then you've got Lotterer, Wehrlein and De Vries, who are still kind of within touching distance. We're not at the halfway point of the season just yet, though. We've got Nick Cassidy, who was quick in free practice earlier on, second fastest. In fact, he's 13th and hasn't got a huge amount of points. Sims, Sete Camera and Giovinazzi, the 3 drivers who are yet to score this season. Dragon are the only team yet to score any points in the teams. Mahindra have 4 points. Neo picked up 7 at the last race in Rome, which was a very impressive performance. But Mercedes EQ are at the top, but only 7 points separating the top 6 in the championship. So they are very much all in the fight. This is the circuit. Karun kind of needs no introduction, I suppose.
Yes, I fully agree. I mean, if you don't know this track, then you must be completely new to motor racing. But yeah, it's a true icon of the sport, isn't it? And I'm so glad that since last year, Formula E are using the full track going around this bit here, the bottom of the hill, around Portier, through the tunnel, and the modification we've got for this season is that chicane, the Nouvelle chicane, around the harbour, through to back, past the swimming pool, and round Rascasse and Anthony Noakes to finish up the lap. You know, just a challenging layout, and in Formula E terms, actually quite a fast layout. You know, in terms of the nature of the circuit, it's much more flowing. It's less 90-degree corners than we see at a lot of the other street circuits we go to on the calendar. And actually, in terms of average speeds, it's one of the fastest, if not the fastest, average speed across the lap.
Jean-Eric Vergne won here from pole position in season 5, and he leads the championship, the 2-time champion in 2018 and 2019. Not won a race so far this season, but he's the only driver to have scored points in every race so far. Antonio Giovinazzi still waiting to get off the mark for the Dragon Penske Autosport squad. His best result of the season was the first race in Rome, where he finished in 18th position. The Dragon, not a particularly strong race car, but Sergio Sette Camera did qualify 10th on the grid in Rome, which was impressive. Eduardo Mortara getting ready to go, doesn't have a particularly successful record in Monaco, but Venturi, the only Monegasque car racing team around, and they will be hoping for a strong weekend. Got a podium here a few years ago with Felipe Massa, which was a big day for them. Jake Dennis in his new helmet. In fact, has he got the sort of casino-y thing on the top there? I wonder if this is a fully Monaco-specific helmet. I will have to ask.
Did it give away when it says Monaco on the front of it?
Oh, I didn't see that bit.
Gave you the clue?
Yeah. I didn't spot that bit. Okay, well, yeah, he's wearing his Monaco-specific helmet. Track goes green. Everybody straight out onto the track, as you would expect. Only 1 hour of practice throughout the whole day, and the teams have so much running to get through, with your race energy management kind of running, your group qualifying running at 220 kilowatts, and your full dual qualifying lap running at 250 kilowatts. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. I think that the good news is it's the same for everybody. You know, I think where you've got to be very careful is not to have a problem or an incident during free practice session, because that will completely destroy any opportunities you get. That is getting a look here as you come past the casino, the attack mode, which we'll see in the race on the left-hand side of the track. This is a fantastic overhead shot, isn't it? As they come through Mirabeau, past the Fairmont Hotel, around the hairpin, and into Poitiers. It's you can't really appreciate the gradient on this circuit unless you actually try and walk up and down the hill, don't you? You know, the run from Saint-Devote up to the casino, it's incredibly steep.
Yeah.
And similarly, conversely on the other side, as you drop down the hill, and you get a little bit there, you can see, as they come into the chicane out of the tunnel, again, really steep drop, very tricky under braking there. The rear of the car always light, and it's quite hard to get it under control. I suspect we'll see a lot of people, particularly in qualifying when they're pushing for it on the lap, lock up and have a little bit of a shock through that chicane.
Absolutely, and the track, largely speaking, unchanged since the first racing in 1929. This all has got a bit more of a loop. It used to be more of a hairpin, but now there's the Rascasse bar in the middle that you have to drive around. A bit of a change at the chicane, and they built the swimming pool in the 70s, I want to say, but apart from that, overall, it's about the same. Here comes Nick De Vries up the hill, quickest man in free practice one. A strange season so far for Nick De Vries. He's been qualifying well. In fact, him and Andre Lotter have the best average qualifying, 4.6 over the course of the season, but he's down in 8th place in the championship. A win, a 10th and a 6th in the first 3 races, no points in Rome, and both races in Rome he didn't have the race pace and got involved in fights, and as soon as you start in Formula E getting involved in a fight, they would overheat the rear tyres, and then you start to slide more, you use more energy, it would just go backwards and backwards, and you end up in this sort of declining cycle.
Yeah, I mean, the good news for him is he's still, less than a win in terms of points away from the championship lead. So he's not, it's not a complete disaster. But he does need to get his season back on track. He started off, as you said, Jack, in great form, winning that opening race, reigning champion. It was all going wonderfully well on the first day. And actually, frankly, when you looked at it, he and his teammate Stoffel van Dorn dominated really that first day of the season, and we all thought, okay, this is going to be going to be up and away. And the fact that Venturi were competitive, everyone assumed this was a season where the Mercedes powertrain was the one to have. But as it's unfolded, it hasn't quite worked out in that way, has it? Neither of them have won since then. Stoffel obviously very consistent, 3rd in the championship, only 4 points off the lead. But yeah, for De Vries, he really needs to get his title challenge back on track.
Mercedes weren't particularly strong at Monaco last year as they come up the hill, and the Jaguars are out on circuit. Now they seem to be quite quick in last year in particular. Mitch Evans almost taking the victory, but we have had, as we go on board here with Lucas Di Grassi now, driver's eye around the town, the city, the country in which he lives as he comes up the hill now towards Massenet.
So as you go up, it's completely blind as you go under this bridge. You got to stay about 2/3 width wide on the way in. Di Grassi taking a tighter line than most other people, and that's what happens if you go in a bit too tight. The rear of the car steps out. You saw him having to correct it. Go over the bump down in Mirabeau. Important to get the wheel into that inside drain. It really hooks the front round. And then here through the hairpin, you see some drivers using the curb. Often you have to do that one-handed. The right-hander Portier use plenty of curb, get on the pavement. The next right-hander as well. You get a lot of grip actually on the way out. It's weird how when you come through that second part of Portier, the rear of the car just grips up. It must be just the way the gradient is. Downhill braking, as I said before, for the chicane, really tricky on the rear end of the car. Important to be aggressive with the wheel, I think, to change direction here through the chicane. To back, get as close as you can to that inside barrier and then flirt with the one on the right-hand side, comfortably flat through the first part of the swimming pool chicane. And now this is a tricky one because you got a curb on the left, and it's a bit of a risk-reward game you're constantly playing in terms of how much you use for the second part of the chicane. Raskas and Anthony knows very important to not turn in too early into the last corner. There's a real temptation to go in a bit early into that one, but actually you've got to wait. You've got to consciously tell yourself to wait just a fraction, turn in a bit later, and then straighten the wheel as the track drops away. So there's the lap of Monaco.
And that put De Grassi 11th fastest in the Rocket Venturi, and that was at 220 kilowatts. Robin Freitz now climbing the hill. Now, Envision are a bit interesting because they, every weekend so far, we've sort of had a dominant team. Diriyah, we had Mercedes dominate, as Karoom was alluding to. Mexico was sort of Porsche's turn. And then Rome was sort of Mitch Evans and Jaguar's turn. But at pretty much every race, Robin Freitz has been in the mix. Second on 2 occasions. The only driver to have been on the podium 3 times this season. But never quite looks like he's going to win. When the race is unfolding, it's never like, you know, Robin's got this. Not that I don't think he can have it, of course, but you know, it never feels like they are the team to beat so far this season.
But you know, consistency is helping them, isn't it? You know, as you say, he's racked up those podiums, only 2 points off the championship lead.
Yeah.
So he's got to be doing something right. But I think his teammate Cassidy's had a bit of a troubled start to the year, hasn't he? He had that crash early on, which I think, you know, they get an allocation in terms of the number of powertrains that they can use, and he's obviously done some damage to one of his early on.
Yeah.
I think that's had a bit of a knock-on effect. But let's see what Freitz does on this lap as he comes up across the line. It's not a great lap, no improvement.
Very good job, R1 straight away, full energy lap when you can.
So that's Jean-Eric Verne's radio, and he comes through to complete a lap, and there is James Rossiter, advisor for the DS Techeetah team. And we've got 22 minutes left on the clock, and Roland has returned to the pit lane now. Dennis goes up into 3rd spot. A 1 minute 30.8 for Nick De Vries is the quickest time so far, and that's actually 3/10 quicker than he has managed in free practice 1. So he's already found a little bit more time. You can see a lot of drivers in attack mode or full power at the moment as Lotterer slides through the top of Casino Square. Nice black lines on the outside of the corner. I think quite a few drivers are having a slide up there.
Yeah, it's easily done because you got a little bit of negative camber as the car comes out of that corner there, the right-hander around Casino Square. Here he is into Portier. Really important to get a good exit here. This is the fastest part of the track as you come through the tunnel. Should be comfortably full power for the drivers. Make sure you bring the car across the right-hand side and get it straight under braking. You don't want any lateral load as you brake for the chicane because it'll just make it even trickier than it already is. He's going to have a bit of traffic on this lap. Shouldn't be too much of a distraction as the Neo gets out of the way. Second sector time, obviously a personal best. Oh, we got a yellow flag.
Yeah, that is one of the Andretti's has come to a halt in a kind of strange position. Looks as though it might have sort of broken down rather than anything else, rather than having an off on the way into the second part of the swimming pool. Just trying to work out which one that is. I think it is Askew, yes. So Askew getting pushed off. Now, he's only going to lose 20 minutes of running, but well, that's a third of the practice session.
I was going to say, you say only.
Yeah.
It's pretty critical. And as I was saying before, you can't afford to lose any time. They got so much work to do in terms of getting the car prepped for, you know, for the race. You want to understand what sort of energy targets you need to achieve. You need to understand, as a driver, you want to know, you know, where and what's the best way to save energy without costing lap times. We see a big lock up there for Alex Sims into Saint-Devot. And, you know, once you've got that understood, you've got to then obviously work on your qualifying performance in 2 different engine modes, in power mode. So, yeah, very tricky as we see Sims sliding his way around the Hotel de Paris and Casino Square. Another driver, as you said before, Jack, leaving some dark lines of rubber as they come around the casino. 7/10 down though in sector 1, so not a great start to this lap for him.
No, he's on a full power lap. Didn't get a full power lap in the first practice session. That's why he ended up last in 22nd place. But he's on the full power lap now, as you say, 7/10 away in the first sector alone. His middle sector split will come after the swimming pool. Onto the brakes now. Into the chicane.
It's a good camera angle to just see at this next corner how close he gets up to the barrier there. Very close on the inside line. Leaves a little bit of a margin on the way out. His second sector, he's done a personal best, but it's not as quick as we've seen from other drivers. So let's have a look. The sun's starting to come out.
Yeah,
track
lovely.
temperature starting to come up now as well. And the circuit actually had a lot of grip this morning, the drivers were saying. So see as he comes up across the line what that does for him. It's 1.6 seconds off. Let's have a little replay. This is where he lost a chunk of his time, as we saw in sector 1, and a large part of it down to that lockup there.
Yeah, and then he had a sort of a bit of a wobble here too, and didn't quite get to the apex, so that probably cost him all the way up the hill as well for the Mahindra driver. De Vries is quickest at the moment, Mortara second, third is Van Dorn, fourth is De Grassi, fifth is Dennis. Robin Freins is 13th. He's on a full power lap, right up to the wall on the exit of Portier. He also didn't get a full power lap in the first practice session, down in 20th place in the Envision. His first sector, though, is a 10th up. Ooh. But is he getting that stopped? He is.
Just about. He had a big lock up there, and he actually locked up the outside wheel. And that's what I was saying. It's important to get the car straight without any lateral load, because if you don't, that's what happens. If you're trying to steer right while braking, it's easy to lock up the outside tyre. Here he is sliding his way into the chicane. Used a lot of that sausage curb there on the left. Ooh, a bit too deep, a little bit greedy on the way in, gone in a bit deep, missed the apex at Raskas. We'll see if that's hurt his final sector time as he comes up to the line. De Vries on a 30.8 to beat, and Freins does it with a 30.6.
So almost 2/10 clear of De Vries. There's a replay after that moment. He was told on the radio a reminder about balance at turn 10. I think that's turn 10, isn't it? The chicane.
I refuse to use corner numbers.
So do I. Maybe
know.
that's a brake balance adjust is what the suggestion is.
Still
there.
the braking in turn 10, man. Always the right.
Can confirm it is turn 10 then. Freins frustrated with the braking. Here is Sam Bird climbing the hill, 5th quickest at the moment. He's just done a lap, in fact, at 1 minute 31.2, half a second away from Freins. Here's some full power running from Pascal Wehrlein, winner of the race in Mexico. He was much more neat and tidy compared to Freins through the chicane, and through his first sector.
He's done a very good middle sector there,
yeah.
Jack. Fastest of anyone in the middle sector. Now only a 10th down on Freins across the first two. He was decent in sector 1. We'll have a look and see if he can get a cleaner run. We know Freins had a little bit of a scrappy run through the final part of the lap. This could work out for Wehrlein. Very close to the barrier on the way out of the last corner, and it puts him 3rd on that lap.
So 2/10 away from Freins. So Freins, De Vries, Wehrlein, Mortara and Van Dorn, the top 5, almost at the halfway point of the session. And there's a look at Wehrlein through the final corner. And that's Carl Wilson-Clark, his race engineer, on the radio to his driver. Mortara's on a full power lap. We've got the two DS Cheetahs coming through here, who are both now going full power, I think, by the looks of things. So first across the line is going to be Da Costa. These are the last two race winners here. Antonio Felix Da Costa and Jean-Eric Verne in the last 2 visits. DS Cheetah very strong as they now climb the hill up Beaurivage.
A good run there through Sandoval. It's quite important to get that first apex hooked up, and Da Costa taking the wider line, which hasn't worked out for him. He got a little bit on the marbles, I think, on the outside, and had a big snap of oversteer. So I think that's going to cost him a bit of time. Yeah, sector 1, not brilliant. Verne a bit quicker in the first sector of the lap. 26.7 is actually a really strong sector 1 for Jean-Eric Verne, only 600ths off Freins' sector.
Here comes Da Costa under the tunnel. 2 tenths behind his teammate, who is there, chasing him down as he emerges into the sunlight and onto the brakes.
Look at his hands sawing at the wheel under braking there as we cut back now onto Da Costa as he comes through to back. Look for the barrier on the left. Does he leave? Ooh, not much margin there on the right. Certainly getting closer than we've seen a lot of other people doing. So middle sector there for Da Costa, a 38.6. Verne, pretty much the same, only 500ths quicker than him. So these two pretty evenly matched in the middle sector of the lap. Verne should be on for a good run here. If he can get a good final sector, it should put him into the top 5.
Da Costa goes into 6th place. Jean-Eric Verne goes into 2nd place then. There wasn't much between them. Verne found a bit of time in the final sector too, but mainly it was up at Massenet where it went away for Da Costa. De Grassi's on a quick lap. He's almost 2 tenths up on Robin Freins here. Through La Rascasse.
I think he's gone wide there, Jack.
Yeah.
I think he used a lot of curb at the second swimming pool chicane. Really launched it over that curb. Be interesting to see how that reflects on the lap time. And yeah, it's cost him. And he went, I think he went quite almost too aggressively on that curb, and then again made a mistake at Rascasse. So ultimately, not great.
6 tenths slower than Freins in the final sector there, Lucas de Grassi. So there's now a yellow flag. Well, someone's gone straight on at turn 1, and that is Tictum. And someone else, I think there's also a yellow flag as... Okay, so I think turn 18 is the final corner, though. So there's something else going on out there as well, potentially. But Tictum has gone straight on, down at the first corner. He just started a push lap by the looks of things with the halo flashing purple. Freins quickest, Verne second. Yeah, there at Rascasse, I think we've got a yellow flag out still too, with 12 minutes on the clock. This is what happened to Tictum down at turn 1. There he goes.
Yeah, just locked up the front. Made... Oh, we've got a red flag, Jack. So
yeah.
Whatever's happened down at Rascasse is...
Brought out the red flag, maybe a stoppage on track or something. And it looks kind of clear, doesn't it? 11.5 minutes to go. Askew Sims. No, Sims came across the line, but Sims is showing us stopped on track on the timing screen, but he's somewhere in the first sector. So, yeah, red flag out at the moment. We'll try and work out exactly what's happened, but this will be compromising for the teams. We think it's Sims somewhere. There he is. So Sims is ground to a halt on the entry to Rascasse. So Sims out of the session, and they are going to have to...
There's a lot of marshals trying to get their car to move. It's like something's jammed up.
Yeah, and I don't quite know where are they going to... Is there room there? There is. Okay. I was thinking that they wouldn't be able to get into that gap, but we're going for it.
He's trying to get them to push forward, is he?
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at this. Here's the replay. And just pulled over.
Yeah.
Is it a mechanical? Looks like a mechanical issue.
Yeah.
Did he touch the wall?
That is Antonio Giovinazzi touching the wall. Well, it feels ambitious, that little gap. But we'll see what happens with the Mahindra team.
Thing is, all of this dilly-dallying about where are they gonna go forward or backwards and where they're gonna park it is just affecting everybody else, because the time keeps ticking down in free practice, unlike in qualifying of the race. The time keeps ticking down, and Alexander finally gets out of the car.
I think there might be a bit of damage on the...
There we go.
Yeah.
You can see the front wheel. So that's what's happened, is he's damaged. Has he damaged the front track rod?
Yeah, it looks like it, because I think one wheel's straight and the other one is not. So, and that's presumably why they wanted him to turn the wheel, and he's saying, yeah,
he couldn't
but the wheel won't turn. So maybe he's got into the swimming pool. He's caught it on the...
Hey, attention team managers, this is race control. Just so you know, once the last cars are in, this is going to be a short call to reopen the pit exit.
I think your tires should be around 45 degrees sun.
So just maintain track position. I think most cars are going to be on out push.
Qui a Monaco per la gara che poi partirà.
Please go to 1 and 3, 1. Attack activation now, attack activation now. Some 2 seconds.
Copy, that's P1, cool down.
Really? Yes.
So we have a few minutes left of this free practice session after that red flag. And we've had a bit of a power cut in the commentary box, so we apologies for that little delay. Oliver Turvey is just coming into the final corner at Anthony Nogues now, and out across the line, crunches the curbs on the exit, and Turvey comes across the line and jumps up the order a little bit. Oliver Turvey in the Neo 333 car after his heroics last time out in Rome, going from the back of the grid all the way to finishing in 7th position, which was very impressive from Turvey. His teammate Tictum looked quick earlier on today. As we now come through the final corner and out across the line, we'll see what the Envision car can do. And it's Robin Freitz who comes across the line third at the moment, Freitz, and on that full power lap he goes 1.7 seconds slower. And here's a look at the replay of Freitz having a big slide. Wow. Nearly put that in the barriers, Karun.
Yeah, I mean, we could almost hear it, the tyre squeal, as he tried to put the power down and come out of that corner. So, but he's still in the hunt, isn't he? You know, he keeps saying consistency from Freitz, even in his practice session, in the top 3. And yeah, be interested to see as qualifying and the day unfolds how he gets on.
Cassidy, his teammate, just looked like he got a little bit of traffic. Here's Dan Tictum in the other Neo, and he is sliding his way through the swimming pool and on the way out right up to the wall on the inside. This is full commitment, this here from Tictum. Personal bests in sectors 1 and 2. A little bit of traffic up in front, but the Porsche of Verline will be starting a lap, so that should be all right for Tictum. Here he comes across the line, 2 minutes on the clock now, and Tictum goes from 20th up to 15th, but that was full commitment.
It's like watching a British Jean Alesi, isn't it, Tictum? You know, he's exciting. There's always something happening. It's drama. There's always a controversial moment. You know, there's always a bit of a rant. He is like a British Jean Alesi.
It's a good comparison, actually. I like it. Do you think he would like it? Do you think Jean Alesi would like it?
I don't know if Jean Alesi. I can ask Dan if he'd like it. I think he'd like it. I mean, I'd like to be compared to Jean Alesi. He was exciting. He was, you know, very talented, great car control, edgy on and off the track. So yeah, all of which ticks the box for Dan Tictum.
Here comes Nick Cassidy then. He's coming down into the Nouvelle chicane.
Only 18th at the moment, Jack, so he needs to put a lap together. You can see the blue lights flashing on the halo. Personal best, of course, in Sector 1. 4/10 down in Sector 2, so that's a reasonable effort. If he can have a good run here. Got a little bit held up there by one of the Nissans. So I think that's going to cost him a bit of time. It should be good enough to get in the top 10. Not sure if he's going to trouble the top 5.
Needs a big result, Cassidy, as we've said a couple of times so far today. He comes across the line and it is 14th, so not quite there, with Freitz up in 3rd position. A bit surprised again to see so many drivers doing these full power laps right at the end of the session, because the next laps they're going to do will be in race power mode at 220 kilowatts, but they do have a 12-minute session to sort of build up to that. Here comes Jean-Eric Verne, a personal best in Sector 1. 4th at the moment as he swings left through to back. Then we'll get his middle sector split, and he is up on Da Costa's time. Throws it through the swimming pool section.
I think he might have touched the wall there, Jack. Coming out of the second swimming pool chicane, he's backed out of it. I think he might. Yeah, he's coming into the pits. I wonder if he touched the wall coming out of that second chicane.
Well, I thought I heard a bang, and then it looks as though he has. He's coming back into the pit lane now, Jean-Eric Verne. It's busy down at the hairpin. Verne goes straight back into the garage. Mitch Evans is second quickest at the moment, and he's on a full power lap in the Jaguar, coming out into the tunnel. Got a bit of traffic up ahead. Hopefully they will keep out of the way. The Mahindra does. The Porsche still there at the moment. Evans sails straight on. bit greedy on the brakes there, Mitch Evans, coming into the Nouvelle chicane. He had Verline up ahead of him, but this isn't going to be an improvement then for Mitch Evans either. De Costa is at the top of the times. Evans second, Freitz third, Verne fourth, Gunter up in fifth place, which is another encouraging lap for the... oh, okay. So I think Evans was a bit annoyed that Verline didn't get out of the way coming into the Nouvelle chicane, and that's a little bit of a... Oi, you should have seen me coming there, I think. Evans comes through, second fastest.
Yeah, it stays second fastest. This is a replay here. This is what we were saying before. Jean-Luc Verne, watch this, comes through there. And yeah, there we go. It was a decent whack on the wall, but he does seem to... I think he clipped the inside curb a bit too hard. Hit that yellow curb, and then watch his hands here, and just making contact. So, yeah, no ideal, but better to do it now than in qualifying.
And there you can see Verne investigating the back of the car and just checking to see how much damage there has been to his DS Techeetah. Hopefully, or he will be hoping, not very much, but the team at least have a bit of time before qualifying to get it all fixed again. There's De Costa returning to the pit lane now as well. That's that the drivers are now going to do, and if they want to anyway, because De Costa coming back now into the pits. So De Costa ends it quickest, the winner of the race here last year. Evans second, 2/10 back, Freitz third, Verne fourth, Gunter fifth. De Vries, Verline, Lotterer, Mortara, Dennis the top 10. Both Envisions doing a practice start. Nick Cassidy choosing to go from second on the grid. Jake Dennis about to do a practice start as well. I think De Vries saying I was quite happy with the change we did there, although he ended that session. Where did De Vries end that session? Sixth fastest, 4/10 away from Antonio Felix da Costa, so not too bad. Stoffel van Doorn, his teammate, finishing 11th in that session. Sebastian Buemi, who ended up 15th with his teammate Max Gunter up in 5th, but it's all to play for in qualifying in just an hour or so's time. Pascal Verline had that little moment with the Jaguar driver of Mitch Evans just then at the end of free practice 2. So this is how it ended. Antonio Felix da Costa quickest, 2/10 to Mitch Evans and a quarter of a second to Robin Freitz. Jean-Eric Verne fourth, fifth for Max Gunter. De Vries, Verline, Lotterer, Mortara and Dennis, the rest of the top 10. Just 6/10 covering the top 11. Compare that to free practice 1, where there was 1.1 seconds covering the top 11. So the field coming together a little bit more, and it'll be incredibly tight for qualifying a little bit later. The session begins at 10:45, so exactly 1 hour from now, qualifying will begin. We'll be on air in 45 minutes. Lucas de Grassi ending up 12th quickest, 6/10, separating first all the way down to Cassidy in 14th place. Then you have a bit of a gap back to the Neos, Mahindras, the Dragons, and Oliver Askew only did 10 minutes of running before having to pull off the circuit. So, free practice 2 done. As I say, 1 hour until qualifying begins. So, if Sims did hit the barriers, which we think he did, then they will have to work pretty quickly on that Mahindra to get it going again in time for qualifying. Evans and Da Costa having a little chat. The two Mercedes drivers making their way back down from... Smart, speaking a bit of what I presume is Flemish. So both Evans and Da Costa complaining about overheating rear tyres by the sounds of it and starting to slide around a lot. Eduardo Mortara came to Rome as the championship leader, slipped down to 5th in the end, but still in with a... He's still within touching distance, let's say, of those up at the top. Incident involving Sims and Buemi, no further action after investigation. So maybe there was something between Sims and Buemi. So we'll have a look into that after the session as Roland makes his way upstairs at Mahindra. Fan boost voting still open. Da Costa, Van Dorn, Roland, Verne and De Vries are the 5 drivers who at the moment would get it. The 2 Jaguars just outside, Giovinazzi in 8th place, Lotter and Tictum, the rest of the top 10. You can scan the QR code or head to FIAFormulaE.com/fanboost to give your favourite driver an extra power boost in the second half of the E-Prix later on this afternoon. Stoffel Van Dorn, always a firm favourite. Second free practice session ahead of the 6th round of the season on the streets of Monte Carlo. The lights went green, everybody headed out straight onto the circuit. We have seen previously the Mercedes and some of the other drivers waiting in the pits to get a little bit of clean air, clean track, but we didn't see that today. Andre Lotterer sliding his way through Casino. And that was Oliver Askew pulling off very dramatically and very quickly. Alexander Sims locking up into turn 1. Robin Freitz locking up into the chicane. Ah, so was there contact there then on the exit? I can't quite work out what's happened there between Sims and Buemi. Jean-Eric Verne, easy to work out what happened there. Oversteer, hit the wall, checking the damage. Robin Freitz ended the session 3rd fastest. After ending the first session, 20th fastest. Mitch Evans was 2nd quickest. And actually, the top 3 in this session were the 3 drivers on the podium last year. Da Costa ended up fastest as he looks to win in Monaco again. Right, straight into the debrief, because they've only got 1 hour before qualifying begins. We'll be on air in 45 minutes time. Make sure you join us for one of the most intense qualifying sessions of the season. A single header this weekend. Pole position has always provided the winner for the Monaco E-Prix. So it's absolutely vital that these drivers perform in 1 hour's time. Da Costa quickest. We'll see what he can do in qualifying. Join us then.